We are going to be working on a project that I have about 2 weeks to finish, and I thought I would take you all along for the ride. So I am actually doing this for a contest. It wasn't originally for that, but the contest happened to show up around the same time, which just made this even better. And I am turning old pieces of, well, not old, but I am turning pieces of couch cushions into a mermaid top. And I'm also using this old bra that I found, and I cut off all the top pieces, and we're gonna be putting these shells on like this. This is one piece out of so many. I have so many plans for this, and I feel like I'm really getting back into my element, but I can't find my X-Acto knife. I can't find anyone except for this really tiny one, which is not the one that I want to be using right now, but it's the one I have on hand, and we're going to use what we have on hand. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to be cutting little lines right where I drew. There we go. And we're just going to cut along those lines. When I saw this furniture foam pack in the thrift store, I knew that it was going to make an amazing thing for seashell stuff. I'm also going to be doing the little fin padding things right here with that as well. And as you can see, it creates this little line right here, which is exactly what we need. And we're going to try to get that a little bit deeper. So it just takes a few passes just to keep going over these lines. And it's a slow process, but it does get you where you need to be eventually. And we just are going to continue to cut out like that. Let me turn this down just a tad so you guys can see that better. And you just really want to open these pieces up and go really small. You don't want to overdo it. I think that this is probably how cosplayers do it. I have not actually done a professional cosplay yet. I've thought about doing a cosplay before, but I have not done one professionally, like going to a con with it. I feel like that's when it becomes professional, when you actually get to take it somewhere, and I feel like just the gratification from that would be amazing. But as you can see, you're starting to get that foam shape right there, and that's what you want. And you can literally use any foam. You can use packing foam for this. I have not had anything come in packing foam yet, but if I ever do order something, I am going to keep it in stock for making more things out of this, because I actually quite like this a lot. But the trick with this is just get it as small little cuts. You don't want big cuts at all. Because you want to really get that detail in there, and that's the important part. But we're going to continue going with this teeny X-Acto knife. I had a set of like 10 X-Acto knives. I don't know what happened to them, but we're going to go with this tiny one. And you're just going to want to create it right there. That's what we are doing. And hello to everybody that joined. Welcome. We are making a mermaid top out of some fabric, not fabric foam, some furniture foam. Here we are. You can definitely start to see the difference, but I think I still want to go deeper with this. And I think that it'll be working the further we go. It's just going to add more of what we want. Because as you can see, we need this to be a little bit thinner, just so it kind of goes on there a little bit better. And I obviously am going to have a second one right here. And it doesn't look like it's going to work right now, but it definitely will. So I definitely didn't have too much time today. I have a lot of things to do today. I'm actually going to be making my first trade. I get to trade some delicious fruits and vegetables for some sewing services, which is so exciting because I really do like sewing and making things and fixing things. And I will be doing a mending project for somebody in the next town over. There we go. All right, so we have those lines. They are starting to get deeper, which is what we want. And if there's any cosplayers, please let me know if I'm doing this completely wrong. I feel like I might be, but then again, I mean, if it works, it works. That's the important part. And I'm actually gonna cut all the way through right there and right there. And I will be painting this foam because I don't think that I want it to just be this green color. But you just kind of cut the foam just a little bit, and then you get that. And I'm going to take my scissors and go in and gently cut. You just want it to be really gentle. I think that this would be super cool for anybody that wants to do like mermaids for Halloween. I am definitely thinking about my costume for Halloween. I don't know what you guys think about. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I don't know how this works. Okay. Ah! Okay, never mind. But the question still stands. I would love to know what y'all are doing for Halloween, what you're gonna dress up as. I think I may go with this mermaid costume. If I have time, I might make a second costume. But that is still up for debate. It depends if I have time for that. I'm actually going to be entering 2 things into this competition. The second thing is to be announced later, but this one I can let you guys in on it now because I think that it's going to be cool, and I think I might wear this for Halloween. I am not sure yet. But we are just making this. So this is my first time working with craft foam. Oh, I forgot to cut there. Okay. And the tail is made out of a dress as well. It's made out of a dress that I really didn't see myself wearing, but now I will be able to wear it and make a second dress out of it, which is going to be super cool. All right. Just cutting in a little deeper. There we go. And we're actually starting to get that shell shape that we want. We definitely want that. I don't know what I'm going to do for the bottom of the shell, but I do know that getting that shape is going to be super important. We're also going to be cutting parts of the back out, just because we want to make room for the actual cups of the bra. I'm just kind of doing like a grid across. That way we can cut into it much easier. And then we can kind of use that to help shape it. And don't worry about my cat. He's very loud, but he's okay. I just don't let him in here because there's a lot of sharp things in here and lots of small things that he might actually eat, and I don't want that. I don't want that to be happening. Yeah, so we're gonna be able to see pretty soon how cutting the back is actually going to make it attach a lot better onto the bra. And I'm not cutting too deep because I obviously don't want to go all the way through. This is a great method to use. So if you do see any like old cushions that you have or any packaging, use that for a Halloween costume. It's gonna look great. You're gonna feel happy about it. And it only does take a few hours to kind of form something pretty and nice. My cat is going crazy out there. I don't know why. He's okay. He really is. He's just like, where are you? Where are you going? And just adding in those little details. That's what this really is about. You want to just keep building, and you want to make it somewhat believable. And I think that's what sets it apart from being like a craft versus just being something that you're actually proud of and art. I'm going to do more scoring on the back just to continue getting that cup shape that we want. We do want to get that cup shape going. I'm so nervous that I'm going to cut all the way through. All right. And we'll just continue on. And continue making that hollow shape in the back. Now again, this really isn't super thick foam, so you only want to do this a little bit. I actually was going to be Team Rocket for Halloween, but I really don't think. I think the time is cutting a little too close, and I have not learned how to style wigs properly yet. But I do think it would be fun, especially since I do have a cat and I could dress my cat up. I have 3 cats actually. Yeah, we're just cutting this foam. There we go. And it's gonna make quite a mess, but you can just vacuum that up, or you can use it to fill in a different project. Like you can use it as stuffing or just all sorts of things. And we're actually starting to get somewhere with this shape, which I'm really liking. I'm gonna end up going everywhere I have to go today with covered in foam, and that's okay. People expect it at this point. When I was doing an internship in Winston-Salem, they asked, "Oh, you must be an artist." And I was like, "How do you know that?" And they're like, "You have paint all over your arms." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I do. I do have paint all over my arms." Yeah, this is just gonna definitely make it more moldable. And I think I am gonna paint them before I attach them permanently. We're just getting more cuts in there. I have seen some people use styrofoam and they burn it. They like use heat to mold it to the way they want. But we've got all of this texture right here, and you really can't see that. Maybe you can. But we're just gonna see if it fits. So I think since these are not quite big enough they don't quite stretch all the way, and that's okay. We're actually gonna put like pearls and stuff and like sequins on the inside, and I would have preferred a like tan colored bra, but I actually am only using stuff that I have found used, which means that we gotta go with what we go with. And I found that one. It was pretty much nobody was gonna buy it otherwise because it was pretty beaten up. Looked like someone's favorite bra that they probably wore for like 10 years. I think the bra is actually the same age as me, which is pretty cool. So I've almost got the inside completely cored out to where it needs to be, and the outside is the basic shape that we want it. And we're just gonna keep trying to get those lines deep and detailed. And I don't know if the chat works in this live. I am not sure. I have not seen anyone pop up on the chat yet, but that's okay. I'm sure I will know sooner or later. I think the chat works. I don't know. But my plans for this photo shoot, I have 2 weeks to basically turn all of these materials into a beautiful photo set, which is gonna be quite the challenge. Yeah, it's actually starting to look like a shell. I honestly did not. I came into this, and I even came into this live not even knowing what this was gonna look like or if it was even gonna work. I was a little bit nervous that it was just gonna be like a huge fail, and then I would have nothing for the competition. But you can actually start to see it. You can actually start to see that volume forming, which is so cool. I feel like I'm shearing a sheep right now with the amount of detail that's going in. I'm like just staring at it, trying to get those tiny little cuts in, because the smaller you do the cuts, the more detail it's gonna look. This is gonna be so fun. But you can see that it's starting to build that volume in there. All right, and we continue onward. I have 2 of these to do, so hopefully the second one looks as good as the first. And we actually need to go in and deepen this line. I should probably go in and deepen all the lines, to be honest with you. All right, so we have all of the lines deepened, and we'll just continue working on that volume. That's what makes it believable. If it was flat, it would look like it's from Party City, and we don't want any Party City looking outfits. You go all the way down to the very bottom. That's what we're gonna want to do. And I think next time I will be adding music to the lives. I did not know how to do that without getting copyrighted. I've been copyrighted quite a lot recently. Not in the bad way, just people like, hey, this song has been found for copyright, and thankfully nothing bad's come of it. But I don't want to risk it since I still am a relatively small channel. I think if I was a big channel, I'd feel a little more comfortable with that. There we go. So Once these shells are done, I am gonna paint them, and I think I'm gonna do like an iridescent color just to match the skirt and the tail. And I also have a bunch of like gold and shell stuff to add on, as well as spray painting the background and the big shell bowl that I have. I do still consider making even bigger shell, like an entire background, but with the 2-week time limit, I don't think that I have that. All right. And you gotta get the angle right and just get that very diagonal looking angle. I do wonder if this is how cosplayers do it. I have no idea. But I am just sitting here with scissors, and I feel like I am a cosplayer right now. I feel like I'm embodying that. There we go. Just shearing it off. We've got the volume going. You can see it right there. And if any of you guys have ideas of types of outfits or costumes you want to see next, please let me know, because I feel would love to do them, and I just want to be able to share that with everybody. All right, we are going to continue onwards. And I think this one is almost done. I think we're almost there with it. I know that there's definitely more that I could do on it, but I think we are getting there. I think we're like 3/4 done with this one, just with the shape alone, and then we can go into painting it, which that part I'm nervous about. I've never painted foam before, so it's gonna be a new experience. And we're just gonna cut all the way through. There we go. This looks so much better than we started. So for reference, this is what it looks like at the start. This is with no cutting whatsoever. It is just furniture foam. And then this is what it turns into. And let's add more form and shape. I'm definitely not going for like the most realistic shell in the world, but I definitely want it to at least have the volume of like even a cartoonish looking shell. There we go. So we have beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shell piece. And I didn't use any actual old couches because I found this at the thrift store and not an old couch cushion, as well as there may be some sort of health hazard with using old couch foam. I'm not sure. I haven't done it. I have tried to use old couch foam for other things before. It was like 70s old, which is really old for couch cushions. And I ended up giving up on that because it took a lot of time. It took almost a year. So I think after a year, if something isn't working, you just kind of gotta not do it. Like, I'm definitely not saying give up on something, but a year is a long time to be working on a couch. All right. Oh, this is gonna look so cool. This is gonna look so cool. This one's a little sharp over here. We don't like that. We don't want the sharpness of it. So you just cut everywhere where you see stuff that you don't like. And you just cut right along those lines in there. think that this won't be too hard to paint. All right, so we have that side is pretty much that first one is done over there. Let's get this more cut in there. Okay. Very good. I feel like by the end of this, I'm just going to be covered in foam. I'm just going to be completely covered in little foam bits. But that's okay. It's worth it. It's going to be worth it. And part of me wants to do this with just this being the shells, because I feel like that would look pretty cool, but I also like the stability that the bra is going to give, as well as it gives me more space to do like pearls and stuff. And the more I've cut it down, the more it actually fits on. So this might actually work. This might actually work. All right. I gotta get this little piece out of there. Don't want that in there. I really hope this doesn't ruin my fabric scissors. Yeah. So the grand prize is like $500, which it is a gift card to the store, but it's still $500 towards something, and I go to that thrift store quite a lot. They have so many supplies. Let's see. I think we're almost done with this first one, which means that I actually can paint it. I still don't know what color I'm gonna do, and I might need help deciding that. If you guys have any ideas for colors, please let me know, because I'm a little stuck on it. I'm a little stuck trying to decide whether, because the skirt is actually like an iridescent color, so I'm wondering what color do I make the shell bra. I'm thinking pink. I think pink would be very cool, and then do like an iridescent over top, put pearls, all that stuff. But I'm still not 100% sold on it. So I think I'm done with this one for the most part. And it's gonna go like this. And this is where we started with, so very different. But I think we're gonna go with pink. Definitely do. So I'm gonna probably get some of this stuff out of here just so we can paint a little bit, so we can paint some of this shell. And I think we're gonna do pink, but we do need to probably do a layer of white first. All right, so we got all this foam stuff. All of this foam stuff needs to not be on the desk anymore. And then I can do pink. So I will be here in like 10 seconds. All right. And I also have this small piece of like this really iridescent stuff that I want to add in somewhere. But for now, we are going to go in with a white color. Let's see. There it is. And I probably shouldn't be wearing my black jacket with this, so. There we go. And now we can just paint this with a lovely base coat of white. Actually gonna need my palette. It seems as though I have lost my palette, which is not ideal, but that's okay. we will find something else to paint on. Sometimes I just use like random scraps to paint on. I think that, you know, it's not gonna hurt. Only problem with that is you can only use like a really small amount of paint at a time, but we really don't need that much. So I'm just doing a little bit of white paint. And the foam is gonna soak it up. It's gonna soak it up quite a bit. So we're just gonna brush that on. And you kind of wanna do fast, short strokes because you don't want it to be, you don't wanna give it too much time in one place to soak in. And I think you guys will see the form a lot better once it's painted. It's kind of hard to see with just the green. Also, another trick that people tend to do is they will actually paint it like they're shading a flat surface. So like right here, we would do like darker, and right here we would do lighter. That way you can kind of trick the eye into doing something that exaggerates what's already there. Kind of like contouring in a way. Like you already have cheekbones, but let's make them more, you know? So once we get this painted white, we will go in with a pink, and then with 2 to 3 layers of iridescent stuff. And I have so much iridescent paint, and I cannot wait to show you guys that. I also have a lot of metallic paint, but I thought that silver or gold might not be the go for this one, because there's already so much going on, and I don't want it to get too busy with all of the colors and the textures. And I will be releasing a full video on this once it's done, because the magnitude of this photo shoot is just going to be so much larger than what can be covered in a live. We've got feathers from the last live in there. That's accurate. All right, so I did ask earlier and the poll kind of went away, but I would love to know, what are you guys going to be for Halloween? All right, there we go. So the shell is getting painted just a little, and I'm surprised that it worked up this quickly. Again, never done this before with foam, so this is my first time working with making something like this. But I think it will work. I also think I am gonna be painting the actual bra too, just so we can get a nice base coat on everything. I don't know if I need to make it like fabric paint or something. I feel like it might be beneficial to do that. But I will be painting the bra as well to match. And there we are. So we are just adding on the good, nice first layer. I'm also thinking about doing some holiday themed photo shoots and outfits as well with upcycled materials. I recently found 2 extra large bows. All right. Should set up the mic and do like an ASMR with the paint, because it sounds really cool. And it's getting there. It's really getting there. I'm really happy about it. Yeah, so I do think that the pink is going to look good on it, and then we're going to have a nice mermaid bra shells. And I am doing this one at a time because I still do need to film the YouTube video, which means that I'm going to get footage of me making the other shell, but I am going to completely finish this shell on live and the other one on pre-recorded stuff. I still am looking up how to do water effects. I don't know if I'm going to do that in Photoshop or if I'm going to do it old school with, like, you know, Hollywood smoke and mirrors. I have looked into both and I want to try doing it old school. I really do. I've seen people, they use like a sheet of glass with like weird stuff on it, and that kind of creates the effect of water because I do want this shoot to look like it's going to be underwater. So I'm noticing after the first layer, the foam actually does tend to stop soaking up as much of the paint. It only soaks up a little bit of paint at that point. And it helps you see what you missed and what you did well. Thankfully, we don't need a super thick coat of paint, because we're going to be going over this with like 5 more coats with like pink and the iridescence and all that. And we obviously do want to paint the top of the shell as well, and the sides. And I think I will be coming back on later tonight as well to finish up these shells. I think that that would be super fun to do because I will have more of it painted by then. I may have the other shell done by then. I am not sure about it at the moment, but I think I will have it done by then. There we go. Adding in some more of that. And although I am going to be painting pink over, I do want to still get the tops of these because I don't want to leave anything out. I'm actually going to use this as kind of a thing to protect my table because it's going to get painted anyway. It's so weird painting sponge. I think the last time I painted anything with a sponge texture was when I was volunteering at an art camp so many years ago. I think it was Dinosaur Lake. And everybody wanted me to make them little tiny foam dinosaurs. And this was like 30 minutes before their parents were supposed to pick them up, so I felt like I was on one of those like cooking shows where the clock was ticking because I basically had 30 minutes to make 24 foam dinosaurs. Oh, that camp was so fun. Even though I was volunteering, that was so much fun to, you know, help the kids make so many cool things. I actually did go to that camp too when I was pretty little. And I really liked it because they also let, you know, like 10-year-olds have blowtorches, which usually they don't allow. And I can tell you, as like a 10 to 12-year-old with a blowtorch, I felt like I had the entire power of the world in my hands. And I got to make some pretty cool jewelry out of it as well. I've noticed here a lot of people are more hesitant about giving kids tools with fire. I liked using them. I get why they would be. But even letting like 12-year-olds use X-Acto knives, I think under the proper supervision you can. I think that it's okay. Obviously it depends on the kid, but I genuinely think that being able to have early access to those types of tools helped me become more creative as I got older. And this is definitely not my first foray into using like upcycled materials. I've made stuff out of wicker. I have tried to make a wedding dress out of melting spoons, and I am planning on actually doing that again next year, making a dress out of that. I think it would look so cool. And the only thing that stopped was it was an assignment for school and the semester ended. And I used to live in Florida, so it was already like 102 degrees out. I could not stand the heat gun because the heat gun's like 500 degrees, maybe even 1,000 degrees. So doing that outside in 102-degree heat is not for the faint of heart. But now that I am in North Carolina it would be a lot easier, I think. And I'm also finally have a house instead of an apartment, which means that I can do whatever I want here in terms of crafting. That was like, the apartment time was so sad because I could not do any spray paint. I could not do, basically anything that was not small and on an easel was off limits, which really kind of stifled all the creativity that I had. Because I do like to work in 3D and I do like to work in sculpture. All right, so this one is pretty much done with the white base coat, which means we can move on to painting the bra very soon. All right, there we go. We're just gonna lay that down there. And we're gonna start working on painting the bra. All right. So I am gonna check really quick if I have fabric paint, like the fabric medium for paints. Let's see. I do have glow in the dark. That's glow in the dark. That's glow in the dark. All right, let's see. Do I have any fabric medium paint? I have a lot of glow in the dark paint. I do. So this is textile medium. I also got this used as well. Basically, most of my paints are used. Almost everything is used in this sense. Just gonna give it a good shake. Put a little bit on this little scrap piece, and we're just gonna scoop some of this on. And when you mix that, it makes something that can make the fabric flexible, which is exactly what we want for this bra. We want it to be flexible. And we don't want it to crack because that's not gonna be pretty at all. All right, so I could have gone a white bra, I didn't, but we're going for it anyway. I did cut off all of the extra stuff and the straps and everything. So it just is a bare bones bra with no lining or anything. And we're just gonna go on it. We don't really need to worry about being neat at all at this point because this is the first layer. This is like the base layer. And I've learned fabric tends to soak up paint a lot, so you're gonna need to use more than you think. So I feel like I'm in like some sort of like theater tech thing where they're just making props. I love making props. But yeah, I think this would be so cool if it was like a moon bra. If that makes sense. So we're just gonna add more of that. And I'm realizing this is gonna take so much paint at this point, but that's okay. That's why we have so much paint. My craft room is full of paints and supplies, and I intend to use them. There we are. So yeah, I would love to know what you guys are up to today. I'm obviously doing this, and then later today I'm going to the library. I am also going to pick up a trade order where I'm gonna get some fresh vegetables in exchange for sewing someone's shirt back together, which is so cool. It is a local farmer who goes through their shirts quite often. And I am also going to a town that's like an hour away just to peruse and do art over there. I might actually sit down there because the mountain views are great, and I may just go there and paint later. And it looks like I said, it goes through fast, so we're gonna need more of this stuff, more of this textile medium. I've also heard you can use fabric softener. I don't know if that's true. I have not tried it because I don't have any fabric softener. I don't use fabric softener on my clothes. But I do have textile medium, so that will have to work for now. There we are. Just getting all of that on there. And as you can see, it really doesn't change the texture all that much. The fabric medium just makes it a little bit more elastic for the clothing that you're putting it on. And I think using like used clothes that people wouldn't buy either way is a super important thing to do. It's kind of like rescuing them from their fate of going into the dumpster. We don't want that because there's already so much clothes that's going in the dumpster every day. This bra was definitely very ratty and very old. And now it gets to be a mermaid bra. The bra is not the part that I'm a little bit nervous about. I am nervous about the tail simply because I'm just using an old dress and I don't have a pattern. I honestly didn't have a pattern for this either. I am winging it for this entire costume and seeing what works, and then I will expand on it in the future. I think once I've done enough of them, I will probably do a tutorial on how to do this. This is by no means a tutorial yet. This is genuinely just kind of an experiment. More paint and more fabric medium. There we go. And once I find my palette, this should be a lot easier. But there we are. Just scooping it all up. Yeah, I do think having the bras added stability for those shells is a great idea. Because although I'm only wearing it to a photo shoot, it definitely, I don't want it falling off. It is not that kind of photo shoot. This is to be showcasing art. And I really do hope that this does win the 500. I really do hope so. Because I could use that for so many projects in the future. And I think that, you know, all the work gone into this would be well worth it. I do know that it's going to be like a voting system thing. I don't know if it's judges or if people can just vote, but hopefully they like it. Hopefully they're fans of mermaids like I am. I basically just looked up the entirety of the H2O series before I started making this. Did it help? No. Did I get to watch it again and hear the people with the clear? No. Yes, it did. So I guess it helped in a way. I love that show. It's so hokey and so cheesy. I don't know if you guys remember H2O. It was like this Australian mermaid show in the early 2000s. I feel like they should do another one like that again. I really did like it. All right, so we've almost got both of the cups covered for the most part. There we go. And again, this is going to be a very lousy first coat because I'm putting a lot of coats of pink over. And I think if I go live again, I will be able to have more of this done and show you guys the progress. I don't know if you guys like seeing all of the progress on like my craft projects or if you guys like seeing the Minecraft more. The Minecraft will be moved over to a different channel once I get 50 on there, but I do want to kind of keep this one DIY centered. So if you guys prefer one over the other, let me know and I will do more of one over the other. Last night's live was so bad because it kept cutting out, but thankfully we have the phone and the phone is working. And yeah, so we are just getting this as done as possible. I think it looks pretty good so far. And we're just gonna paint in the middle right there. That's like one of the most important parts because that's what it's gonna be seen the most. The other parts are gonna have the shell on them, like as you can see. It's just gonna have like this shell like kind of glued on as best as it can. And we're gonna get the other side of the middle. I'm probably like the messiest crafts person to be alive. There we go. Adding on some more. And a little more. And I think that a little bit of that fabric medium really does go a long way. So there we are. Adding in more of this wonderful fabric medium. Awesome. I wish I had like dual cameras so you guys could see what I'm painting from this angle, but I feel like it's still kind of easy to see it from there. But I can definitely flip this around so you can see it a little better, what I'm doing, because either way is good for me to paint. All right. Thankfully, I don't have to paint the inside of this, just the outside. I think the inside probably is going to get covered in paint as well because of my fingers are absolutely covered in paint. There we are. And I was actually gifted a lot of shells from some lady just a month ago. So I'm also going to be incorporating those into the outfit as well. All right, some more paint. And I only do a few drops of this at a time. Just enough to make it more fabric susceptible without actually thinning it out too much. And there we go. So as for the type of pink, I actually have a velvet piece of a kid's dress that I'm going to be using as a tail. And I was hoping I would have enough foam to make the tail as well. I don't know if I will. I may have to use pieces of a yoga mat for the tail, which that's okay because the whole point of the contest is to be using materials that people normally aren't going to be using anymore. All right. I'm just going to continue on with it. And as you can see, it's kind of like streaky looking, but that's okay. I think once we get to like the pink layer and then adding all of the sequins and the beads, it's gonna look gorgeous. I really do hope this works because then I can make even more of them and I can give them to people. This runs out of paint very quickly. I really should have a palette. How do I not have a palette right now? I literally went without a palette for like 2 years and then I finally found it again, and yesterday I lost it because I was live streaming and I just put it somewhere and now it's gone. But I think I see something I can use. My palette! Okay, I have found my palette, finally. I have finally found my palette, which means I can actually work on this in like somewhat of a professional manner. All right, we have enough paint there. And some fabric medium as well. And this is definitely a lot easier to use, a lot easier to mix around. This is awesome. Okay. So now we don't have to keep stopping to get new paint every 5 seconds. All right. Do you see how much more that is getting opaque on there? That's what we want. That's what we need. And we also got to get these little pieces right here. That's just as important. So we're going to work on those little edges, getting those completely covered to the best of our ability. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who is watching today. I really appreciate it. I know that I'm very new to streaming, but I appreciate every single person who has stopped by, even if it's just for like a minute, because it means the world to me, and it means that somebody is like interested in what I have to do, and that I just thank you. Thank you so much. Like, I'm so excited to just be here with you today. And I hope that your day is just going the most amazing that it possibly can. And I hope everything good is happening to you today. I hope that, you know, your life is filled with joy. All right, so we have pretty much most of the cup is covered. And now I have a lot of white paint, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I don't think I'm going to use all of it now. But we're just going to continue adding on to everything and making more of the bra completely covered. And I'm thinking about doing not really a warm pink, but more of like a cool toned pink. I don't know, do you guys like warm pink or cool pink better? I'm leaning a little bit towards the cool pink just because I feel like the skirt is that color. It's like, I don't know if you guys seen that pink velvet couch that everyone seems to have, but it's basically that color. Except it's like a little kid's dress that I'm going to cut up. All right, so everything is basically painted. We've got the shell, we've got the bra, and then after that we can paint it all pink. I think I will come on either tonight or tomorrow once everything is carved and painted, and then we can add some of the details on, like the pearls and the sequins and the shells and all of that good stuff. And I also think next week I am going to, well, I have to because the contest will be over at the end of the month. I'm going to be adding the background, which is spray painting, as well as all of the other stuff. Somebody also did gift me a handmade pirate chest, or I'm gonna use it as one, a pirate chest, but in my eyes, it's a pirate chest, and we're going to be adding some pearls and stuff into it and just random treasure items to make it more believable that this is a mermaid under the sea. All right, there we are. I did feel a little bit bad about cutting up the dress at first, but it's not a vintage and I could find another one. The dress is so sparkly and it's gonna make the perfect tail. I saw a bunch of those latex tails online, but I'm allergic to latex, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. A little bit, you know, less predictable. I know it's not going to fit as well as one of those tails because those tails are like super skin tight and forming, but I'm going to sew it to the best of my abilities. And hopefully in the meantime, in the process, I'm actually going to learn how to thread a bobbin because I'm running dangerously low on bobbins. And I know my problem would be solved if I knew how to rethread them. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. As you can see, it is almost there. And that's what we like to see. We like to see this bra looking very much not the color I bought it. And I think that everyone should be making, you know, if they have the ability and if they like to make stuff out of old stuff because it really does help, and it helps keep a lot of this clothes out of the waste stream, which is so important for not only the environment, just the well-being of everybody. And you get a one-of-a-kind piece, which you don't get online unless you buy it from like a skilled artisan, but really, if you get like a costume online, it's not ever going to be one of a kind unless you like custom order it. I saw something today about people talking about using AI to pretend like you have decorations at your party. for the environment, which I thought was really weird because you could either just not have decorations or you could get used ones, but you know, to each their own, I guess. I think it's a little bit weirder that you would have a whole party for a post instead of just, you know, actually having a party for the people that are there. Because I don't really think life should be summed up to like, you know, an Instagram post or a TikTok. I really don't. And the people that did that, they think that, you know, the post at the end is just as important as the party, but I think that if you buy used decorations, it's still as environmentally as not having any because it didn't introduce any more demand in the waste stream, which is really cool. I have a lot of thrifted fall decor right now, and I'm also making a lot of fall decor. I actually made a sign last year that said, "Welcome to the pumpkin patch." I made it for a business that I still do have, but it is currently in its like dormant phase. And I'm doing markets for quite a hot minute there. All right, let's see. Is there anywhere that is not painted enough for the first layer? So I actually think that the bra is painted enough for the first layer, as you can see. So I kind of want to hang this somewhere. I don't know where to like dry it. Okay. Very good. All right, so now that this is pretty much completely what we need it to be, we are going to start with the pink paint. I think that the pink paint would look very good with it. So now I just have to pick a color. And I'm actually gonna mix it with the white. So I'm gonna start off with this super hot pink right here. And yes, I do use the 50-cent craft paints because this is a mermaid bra. Why is it not coming out? All right. Oh, it has been welded shut by the company. We love to see it. There we go. And so we have that hot pink. Let's see, what else am I gonna add? I think I wanna add like a baby pink and a very pastel pink. Maybe not. But we are gonna go in with this more baby pink color, and I have not opened this one yet. As you can see, my fingers are already covered in paint, but that's okay. All right. Okay, don't do that if you have paint on it. That's not good. But we're gonna actually cut this open because it's not opening by itself. All right, so we have our hot pink, we have our baby pink. All right, let's see what that makes. So here's my palette. And yes, my palette is completely a mess, and that's okay. We're gonna add some of that white in there. We're gonna add a lot of white in there. There we go. And we're just gonna mix it up. And that is gonna make a color that is pretty comparable. I still think it needs a little bit of that purple color in there just to cool it down. And let's see, do we have... This is gonna be exactly what we're looking for, and it is called Light Lavender. It's one of the folk art paints. We're just gonna put a tiny bit in there. And there we have it. That is the color that we want for this mermaid bra. The like very mystical pink with just a tinge of purple in it. And we are gonna be laying this stuff on thick. So we've got our shell, and we're just gonna put it as much as we can. And this is the base. We are gonna go in with lighter and darker colors eventually. There we go. And when you use enough paint, this actually goes on very well. And thankfully we did a previous coat of white over the green foam, or else this would be soaking up so heavily. So heavily. So we've got the paint on there so far. This is gonna look so cool. You wanna make sure you get in all those lines right there. Kind of just like dig in with your paintbrush. And the paint really does go fast with foam. So I have already almost used all of the paint that I just showed you, which means that I have to mix more of it, but that's okay. So again, we got our baby pink. We have our hot pink. Oh yeah, I forgot. There we go. We have our purple, our lavender color, just a little bit of that. And then we're going to use the rest of this white on this palette, on this part of it, and stir them together. And that looks like a huge soupy mess, but that's okay because it really is gonna, there's not gonna be much of this left after I finish just this one shell. All right, there we go. I still think it might need a little more of that lavender color. So we're just gonna put a little more in there. There we go. It's gonna be so pretty. And you can see the paint right there. And just put on as much as you humanly can onto this piece of foam. That's how you get it to soak in, and it's gonna look better the more paint you add. And I'm also gonna be doing the same thing to the bra as well, because we're just gonna make everything pink. And I don't know how I settled on pink for a mermaid. I think I just saw the little kid's dress that I'm turning into the bottom of the tail, and I was like, okay, that's what we're doing. We're doing that color, which isn't bad because I think pink is a very pretty color. I really do like it. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it is it's one of the top ones. What is you guys' favorite? I have to say mine is like every color that exists, pretty much, because I love color. Actually, I have a least favorite. I don't like beige. I honestly detest beige. And my current walls in my house are beige, which I want to change very quickly. Even like a plain white would be better at this point. But we have our shell, and I feel like my goal is to make this look like something you might see on like a character at Disney, like in the parks. Maybe even movie quality if I'm lucky. I do know that they use a lot of CGI for that though. So if you open the shell up, you can still see a little bit of green, and we don't want that. So we're gonna keep like stabbing our paintbrush into there, because we want to make sure that this looks good from every angle, even the ones we really can't see that well. All right, there we are. Just kind of getting that paint in there as much as possible. So this is what you can even see the form better than you could before, and that's just with white and pink paint. So once we start adding that dimensional paint in there, dimensional paint kind of sounds like some science fiction thing. But once we start adding that in there, it's gonna look even more three-dimensional. And to think that this could have been used as a couch cushion, but now it is a shell, is amazing. We definitely want to see things as materials instead of what they're intended for. So you can just see things as colors and textures and shapes instead of, oh, well, this is supposed to go on a couch. Because that's all things are. They're materials, you know? Like, things don't have to be used for their intended purpose. Like, if everything that I was using for this shoot was used as its intended purpose, the shoot would not be fun at all. There would be no mermaid because I'm not going to go to the ocean and find a shell that can be the size of a bra because it's hard to do. Would like to see the ocean again though. There we go. I think that's the beauty of upcycling things. You can take something and make it into something even more beautiful. And you do want to be very careful and paint the entire top. You don't need to worry too much about the back because it will not be seen at all. It's going to be glued onto the bra. But the top part you do want to get painted. And the paint should smooth out a little bit of those rough edges that you have on the foam. Because you can't really take sandpaper to foam, it's just going to make a mess. Maybe to hard foam, but not soft foam like this. There we go. Yeah, so even the top of the shell is starting to come together and look more like how it should. I may do a second coat with the pink color. I may stop here and start adding the iridescence afterwards, but I think that this is the color that we're going with for the entirety of the shoot. All right. That's gonna look so cool. I know that I did these a little bit small, but I think next time I might go slightly bigger in the future, slightly wider at least, just so it covers the bra in its entirety, but this gives me more time to play around with it. And for a first attempt, I don't think it looks that bad for a first attempt. And I currently have 9 days until the competition entries are closed, which means that I have to get the photo shoot studio ready and get the entire costume and the entire set design ready. And this is basically all I have so far. So this next 9 days is going to be a wild ride. There we have it. That's okay. I mean, I like working down to the wire a little bit. I'm not really one for extreme planning. All right, and there we go. And I don't know where I'm gonna put this to dry because it definitely does, and I think I will be doing a second coat on this. But I'm gonna find somewhere for it to dry that isn't going to... I actually think I'm gonna put it in the shell to dry because this shell is going to be completely overhauled. This is the shell that I'm gonna be using. So I'm just putting it in here and we're gonna move back to the bra. So the bra isn't 100% dry. It is still a little tacky, but that is totally fine when you're painting. I'm just gonna wipe my hands a little bit on it. There we go. And as you can see, the white coat really did help underneath. It's helping it be way more opaque in the pink color. And I think that just speeds up the amount of time and lessens the amount of coats that you have to do in your actual color. And overall just makes it look like a higher quality piece. Because if you're going to spend this much time, you don't want it to look like trash. You're using trash, but you don't want it to look like it. You want it to look like something that you can actually be proud of. We're adding even more. And unfortunately, this tail is going to be a actual tail. It's not going to be a skirt, which means that I really can't wear it out because this would be such a fun costume to wear out. I would love to know if you guys have recommendations for Halloween costumes, because I feel like making something and I want to make a second costume that I actually can wear outside of the house. There we are. Let me see about this. Okay. Yeah, I've been having so many technical difficulties in the past day. I don't know if the chat works. I don't know if the sound is on. I'm just going for it. It's gonna be good either way. I think I'll get to see after the live is done to see if anything like that actually works. All right. And so we've got quite a bit covered really quickly, and I think that that's just because we already put a coat of paint on it. I'm gonna go in this little center part right here. That's the part that people are actually gonna see of it, is that little center part, because that's where the shells are not gonna be covering. So that is the most important part to get painted the best. It still will be covered with beads and such, but we do like to have it covered like this. All right. Yeah, this is gonna be nice. I am definitely taking inspiration from burlesque performers and drag performers for this. I'm surprised because this is actually even turning out better than the drag costume that I made a year ago, which that was a nightmare. I accidentally put all the rhinestones on it while it was inside out, so I had to perform like that, which was, it was still good. I don't think anyone noticed. I think there was enough flashing lights in there that nobody noticed. The whole thing was made inside out. But definitely I'm taking a lot of inspiration from people like Dita Von Teese as well. I love everything she does aesthetically. I just love the aesthetic. So this is definitely going to be a very glamorized mermaid. Not one that's going to, like, you know, lure you underwater. This one just wants to look fabulous. I think it's minding its own business. Just wanting to be in its own little world. I wish mermaids didn't get scarified. I like when they're like pretty and nice. There we go. So it looks as though we've got the main cups covered with their base coat, and then we can do the sides as well, the straps, which means I need a little more paint. I didn't think I would, but I do. Just a little bit more though, I think. Oh, okay. Oh, looks like I'm doing a lot more. Yeah, so this paint was actually defective, so we are adding a lot more paint than I thought. There we go. I'm actually gonna run out of this. I've had this for like 2 years. So if this is finally what makes me run out of it, that's actually pretty cool. This paint has been with me through like 4 moves, maybe 5 moves at this point. I'm honestly not sure. I think I've moved 5 times. I'm done moving for now, which is good. All right, so there's the color that we need. And then we'll just start adding it to those straps over here. And I'm layering this on the straps a lot thicker than the previous color, which was the white base coat, because I don't know if I'm going to be beading the entire thing. There we go. I'm not certain yet. So that strap is covered. Then I can just cover these parts. I want to paint lighter here because I definitely don't want to absolutely cover the hooks to the point where they're non-functional. I want them to still have their function. So I'm just going super light on those because if they lose their function, there's no way I'm going to be able to put this on or take it back off. So we're going to just drag this all the way over here. And we're going to do the other side. There we go. And I'm going to have a lot of paint left over. I think I did make a little bit too much on accident. Adding a little more, and I can paint on top of this. There we are. Just adding on even more to it. And this might need a second coat, I'm not sure yet. I think either way it will look pretty good. And I'm actually super happy with that, so I think I'm gonna let these dry and I will be back either tonight, tomorrow, or sometime within the next week to do this again. So thank you so much guys for watching, and I love you so much, and I hope you have a day just as beautiful as you are. All right, bye.